Now, any group that comprises 11 million voters is likely to prove pretty influential and powerful when it comes to deciding who forms the next government, or so you would think. But disabled people believe they are, to a large extent, invisible in terms of policies and progress offered by the main parties. What matters to them is, many say, simply ignored. Tonight, an appeal is going out in the form of a petition signed by thousands of people and 80 charities to party leaders to put an end to disability cuts.
For many disabled voters, the election's being seen through the prism of changing attitudes and recent welfare reform. It's their chance to be heard. Zoe, a member of this support group, was hit by a car when she was 15.
It's extremely important for us to vote. If we don't vote, we can't facilitate change. And the problem is that we can't always access these polling booths. If we're looking to go to these polling booths, we have to recce out the access. And if it's not accessible, we can't vote. And what does that say if we can't even vote about where our priorities lie in this country?
Most of this group were in work, but better access and attitudes were an issue.
You have to work all the time to improve things. My employer has been fantastic with me, but we've had to work an awful lot to be able to get things to work.
It's not right to look on the disabled as scroungers. If you pay the disabled and enable them to work, they actually pay taxes.
But the government's welfare reform was their #1 concern, even though the disability budget remains $50 billion a year, and still it's rising.
It seems like there's too much focus on catching out the 1 or 2 people per however many that are trying to fiddle the system, rather than helping those that genuinely need the help from the system.
NJ is one of the 1 million plus who now receive the controversial new disability allowance, PIP. In the end, her award was slightly increased, but she found the process stressful.
Even if you're managing to get the right level of benefits to survive, you're under this constant stress because you go through the assessment process, and that's long, it's drawn out, they're asking invasive questions.
We've got a lot of plans for people with mental health
and learning disabilities, because I've got mild learning disabilities. Yes. And I want my disability living allowance to come back, not have PIPs and get nothing.
The issue of PIP, or personal independence payment, has reared its head on the election trail. Cathy, who confronted the Prime Minister, told me she is appealing against the cut in her benefits.
This PIPs doesn't give you a life. DLA gave you money for DLA money was to help you to have a life. I may not look disabled, but I am disabled. Because I don't look disabled, I don't get the part of being disabled. So I get told, oh, you can cope.
The government says it's reforming a system so that those with the greatest need receive the greatest benefit. The overall amount the disabled claim in welfare has increased. But for many of the 11 million disabled voters still fighting for equal recognition, welfare policy will be a key issue when they decide how to vote next week. Penny Marshall, News at 10.